The Rangers are not in the playoffs, but the New York Islanders are in. Carl Coulage for the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. The 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs are here. The first round. Let me introduce my panel. Chuck, we made it, man. The Islanders are in the playoffs.
We're in, baby.
Listen, that's the luck of the Coulage. You know what it is already, man. I'm telling you. Mike Sparacino, a.k.a. Jesus, are you all right, man?
Luck of the Coulage. I'm out of here.
We have Hags out of Milwaukee. Hags, how you doing, man? Tim Haggerty, what's up, bro?
It's been a week of highs and lows here, Carl, but we're doing well.
Listen, we're hanging in there. Everyone is alive. Praise God. I know it's tough times, but let's just try to entertain the fans. And the Islanders are in the playoffs. That's all I can say, right?
That's it, baby.
Let's do it. So looking at the first round, let me bring up my schedule here. The 1 versus the 8 seed, the Flyers versus the Canadiens. Tim, who do you have coming out that series and how many games?
For me, it's going to be Philadelphia in 5 games. Philadelphia is one of the teams I think could actually win it all. They're really clicking. Didn't lose a single one of the round-robin games. I think they're going to take this one handily.
How many games did you say? You said a sweep or
5?
4? 5?
5 games.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
Pretty much the same as Tim's. Philadelphia was my dark horse going into the qualifying round, but now they're my team to come out of the East. And honestly, they're just a significantly better team than Montreal is. So I'm going with them in 5 games.
Chuck, can we make that a clean sweep for the panel?
Yes, Philly in 5. I will give 1 game to Carey Price, who had a shutout in the qualifying round to clinch the series. Mike Sparacino hates him for some reason, but he's probably one of the best.
I don't think he's generational the last couple of years.
You hate him, but he stepped up. They beat the Penguins, but unfortunately they're going to lose to the Flyers in 5.
All right. Look, moving on to the 2-7, we have the Lightning versus the Blue Jackets. Chuck, who you have in that series and how many games?
Listen, Columbus is a tough team. They're gritty. They have a Hall of Fame head coach, in my opinion, and John Tortorella. But I think the Lightning just have too much firepower. Braden Point is a superstar in the making, so I'm going to take Tampa in 6.
Tim, can you agree?
Yeah, I'll take Tampa in the time of 10. I mean, if they're going to play 5 overtimes every night, we're going to be here all week. But in all seriousness, yes, Tampa Bay is incredibly talented. They're deep. They have lots of loaded stars for now and the future. I like Tampa Bay in 6. John Tortorella's Blue Jackets should give them a good run, even in some of the games they lose like last night.
Mike, do you agree?
I also have Tampa Bay in 6. It's 2 different teams from the rematch of last year. Tampa's a lot more physically prepared this year because they added guys like Maroon, Coleman, Goodrow, and Bogosian. So they have a lot more sandpaper. It's going to bode well for them.
In the 4-5 matchup, we have the Boston Bruins versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Tim, how many games and who you have winning?
I think this series is going to be terrific, Carl. I mean, the Carolina Hurricanes showed against the Rangers that they're definitely extremely dynamic and score in a lot of ways. Boston's been doing it all year, one of the best teams from the regular season out of the Eastern Conference. I'll take the Hurricanes in 7 games, coming down to a big performance from Sebastian Aho and the kids from Carolina.
All right. Mike, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm also taking Carolina. And on my official bracket, I put 5 games because I'm just guessing at this point, never get it right. But the way Carolina played and the way Boston was playing in the round-robin games, I can't really bet against Carolina for this series.
Chuck?
I'm going to take Carolina in 7. They really impressed me against the Rangers. They came out flying, hitting, shooting. They looked incredible. And Boston has looked shaky in their 3 round-robin games. I don't know what's up with them. I think the kids from Carolina are hungry. They lost to Boston last year in the Eastern Conference Finals, so this year they'll get their revenge and move on.
All right, I saved the best for last in the Eastern Conference. We have the Washington Capitals versus the New York Islanders. Chuck, I'll give you the floor first. Unbiased pick.
Carl, it's tough. I'm actually scared about this series. I know we have Barry Trotz, former Capitals head coach. The Islanders have played the Capitals well. I think in the last 8 games, it's split like 4-4. They've had a terrific playoff series. They played The last player series went 7, I believe. So it's going to be close, but I'm going to give the edge to the Caps in 7. It pains me to say, but I just don't know which Islander team will show up. Will it be the team that we saw in the beginning of the season back in like November, December, or the team that finished before we reached the pandemic that was really slumping? So I'm going to take the Caps in 7.
Mike, what are your thoughts? Unbiased pick. Come on.
I'm actually amazed Charlie picked the Capitals, but I also picked the Capitals. I picked them in 6 games. It's just, I think Washington was one of those teams that benefited from the long break, and they, in my opinion, they weren't playing great this season, but against a team that has less star power, aka the Islanders, I think the Capitals get the job done.
Tim?
Yeah, I'll curb my biases as well, but I think the Capitals will take it in 6 games as well. The Islanders are definitely lack some of the star power that Washington has, but they're a deep, gritty group. They find a way to get things done, like we saw in the first qualifying round. I think you can get a similar performance from them here against Washington. Washington just too tough with some of that star power.
Is it safe to say that Anders Lee needs to play well in order for the Islanders to have a chance?
Yes, he's the big body in front of the net on the power play. Carl, this series is going to come down to special teams. In the first qualifying round, I think the Islanders only gave up 7 goals in the 4 games, and half of them came on the power play. So the Islanders succeed at 5-on-5 play, and they need to get their penalty kill fixed, and they got to capitalize on any power play they get. And it starts with Anders Lee in front of the net screening Holtby or the other goalie, what's his face? The Russian, I can't even think of his name.
Samsonov.
Yeah, there you go, Samsonov. There's too many Russian goalies in the Metropolitan Division. Too many.
So overall, there's really no upsets you guys see in the Eastern Conference here. Everyone, you guys pretty much went through 1 through 4 overall, winning out, right?
Well, Carolina's the 5th seed.
Carolina, yeah. Carolina's the only one you kind of see. But the 4 or 5 matchup is never usually – is that really considered an upset? Because you're kind of like
not really.
Not really, right? No, right?
I mean, Boston is the 4th seed because of how they played in the qualifying round. I feel like that's a bigger upset than the numbers suggest because of how good they were in the regular season. 9 years ago when that actually was playing. But they were definitely a team a lot of people had on their radar. Could be a Stanley Cup finalist. And, Carolina's just playing hot, and Stanley Cup's all about the hot hand.
All right. Moving on to the Western Conference, we have the Golden Knights versus the Chicago Blackhawks, the 1-8 matchup. The Knights already lead 1-0. What do you guys think about that series?
I'm going to take Vegas in 6. I think Vegas is just too deep and talented to lose this series. They're actually my pick to come out of the West, so I'm going to take the Golden Knights in 6.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Golden Knights in 5, actually. I believe these games are really just a bonus for the Chicago Blackhawks, and some of my friends from the Chicago area that follow the team even feel the same way. Of course, they have a deep team with a cup core, but getting past Edmonton in the qualifying round, Edmonton's a team that's always struggled in playoff play. I think this is just a part where Vegas will kick in some of that fresher experience of deep playoff ones winning series, and they'll clean this one up.
Mike, do you want to go with the clean sweep with the Knights winning the series?
Yes, I picked them in 4 games just because I told you I'm guessing the games this year. But no, Vegas is the much better team. Chicago's coming off a win off let's call it what it is, a pretty mediocre Edmonton team. Vegas is a significant step up on both ends of the ice. I think they clean it up in 4.
All right. We have in the 2-7 matchup, we have the Avalanche versus the Coyotes. Mike, what are your thoughts on that series?
I got Colorado in 6. I think Arizona is going to put up a hell of a fight, but Colorado is my pick to come out of the West, and they're just – ever since that trade last year for Kadri that they made, they've just looked really, really good. Nothing else I need to say.
Chuck, what are your thoughts on that series?
I'm going to take Colorado in 6 as well. I think they're just too offensively gifted. Their first line might be one of the best in the NHL, and I like what they did by surrounding them with guys that have playoff experience. They went out and got, a Kadri. Who else? I can't think of names right now because it's so early in the morning, but they have a lot of guys now that have playoff experience, and that's what you need when you make a run like this. winning a Stanley Cup is one of the hardest feats in all of sports. So you need the guys to control the locker room and to really buckle down on guys that haven't been there. So I think Colorado's more complete than Arizona, and Arizona could be there in a couple of years, but Colorado's going to take it in 6.
All right. And Tim, what are your thoughts? Do you go for do you go with Colorado here too?
Yeah, I'm going to take Colorado actually in 7 games. Arizona's a really gritty, fun team. I think we'll be hearing more about them in the future. They have a pretty good young core. Colorado, however, is just extremely talented. I wouldn't say the 7 games is a testament of their skill, but more what Arizona is going to bring to the table. Nathan McKinnon, in my opinion, is the second best player in the world. They have tons of talent, lots of young talent. Could very well be the team we see marching on to the Stanley Cup final out of the West. So I like them in 7.
All right, moving on to the 3-6 matchup. This series already started. You have the Dallas Stars versus the Calgary Flames. The Flames won game 1, 3-2. What are your thoughts, Chuck?
I'm going to take Calgary in 6. I'm not impressed with the Stars team at all. I think they're kind of overrated. I expect them to actually blow it up.
Time out. Don't use that word overrated in the sports hit list because it's been thrown around a lot. We got to find another term because everything is overrated in the sports hit list, man. We have to find another term out here. Everyone is saying someone's overrated. A team is over. Is there another word you could use besides overrated?
How about underwhelming?
Underwhelming or overachieving?
How about overachieved?
Okay.
I believe that they overachieved. I think the Flames really showed me something in the qualifying round. They went out there and they took it to the Jets. And I think Matthew Tkachuk could be the X factor. I expect him to get under the skin of guys like Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin. So I expect the Flames to come out of this matchup.
Tim, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with Chuck?
Yeah, I like the Flames in 6 as well. The word I'll use to describe the Dallas Stars is overaged. They're one of the oldest teams actually in the league now. Lots of talent that isn't in their prime anymore. And they just sort of had a weird year. Lots of wins, nothing too flashy, but not something I think that'll work here in the playoffs. So I like Calgary in 6. This team's got a lot of grit.
All right. And Mike, do you agree with the rest of the panel?
Yeah, I took Calgary in 7. I think that Dallas's main problem is going to rear its ugly head in, like it has the last few years, the lack of goal scoring. And Calgary looked pretty good to me against who did they play in the qualifying round? I already can't remember.
The Jets.
Yeah, games 3 and 4, they pretty much annihilated the Jets. So, and Johnny Gaudreau starting to put the puck in the back of the net. Watch out.
All right, so our panel is going with the upset here in this 3-6 matchup. To round it out, the 4-5, we have the Blues versus the Canucks. Tim, what are your thoughts? Who comes out this series?
Yeah, I like the Blues here in 7 games, actually. The reigning Stanley Cup champions still have an incredibly good team, good roster, still very well coached. A lot of things are still the same as they were last year, so you can see why St. Louis may have an advantage, especially in a weird year like this. However, the Canucks are really, really young and blossoming really, really quickly into a team that could be competing in the West for a long time. Guys like Elias Pettersson is one of the NHL's next stars, along with other young phenoms, Brock Besser and Quinn Hughes. I think this Vancouver team is going to be fun for longer rather than shorter, just not this year.
Chuck, what are your thoughts?
This matchup is kind of similar to the Avalanche and the Coyotes. I think the Canucks are a young and upcoming team, just like Tim just said. But the Blues, and they're coming off a Stanley Cup. They got to defend their title. I think they're a deeper team than the Canucks, and I think the Blues will win in 6.
Mike?
I also picked St. Louis in 7. Vancouver proved to me that they can win gritty games against Minnesota, but they got a lot of young guys. St. Louis is the defending Cup champs. I still think St. Louis makes a pretty good run, but I can't pick against the defending Stanley Cup champs, not with a very unchanged roster.
Now, is that a low seed for a defending champion to go into the season at the 4, or is that typical? Again, I'm new to this hockey stuff, so I'm trying to understand.
Well, they're only low because they got the least amount of points in the round robin. So that's why they're the 4. But I think they were leading the Central Division when play stopped. So if play would have continued, they probably would have been like a 1 or 2 seed in the West. So just because they didn't have a good 3 games, they're now the 4 seed. and the Canucks only the 5 seed because the teams in front of them that were ranked higher lost, so they moved up. So I'm not playing too much into seeding this year because of everything that's going on. So is an upset really an upset? I mean, when it comes to like a 1-8 matchup, yes, but I think the other matchups, not really.
All right. And to close out the segment, even though the Rangers didn't make the playoffs, they still won this year, the draft lottery. And I believe, I think Chuck called it when one of our segments we did earlier that it was rigged. And he said, watch what's going to happen. And kid you not, it did happen. Let me get the thoughts of the Ranger fans. What do you guys think of the overall draft lottery and you guys coming out successful? Tim.
Yeah, it's obviously terrific news. Alexis Lafreniere, the Quebec native.
Oh, look at that pronunciation. How long did it take you to get that?
We're not going to talk about it. It might have been a 10-minute YouTube video. That's the French pronunciation. When they pronounce it on the Canadian broadcasts in the World Juniors, they say Lafreniere. But tomato, tomato, it's cooler to say it the French way. But yeah, he's a prize. I mean, he's 18 years old, can do lots of things really well. Terrific hands, increased physicality. Reminds you a lot of what Connor McDavid used to look like when he was a kid. Just lacks some of the explosiveness McDavid has. I mean, it's the lottery, and the Rangers have won it. So, I mean, it feels a lot like, they've stumbled upon something great here. And I've been joking they've had the second best playoffs next to whoever wins the cup because this could change things for them for a long time up ahead.
Mike, do you agree with what Tim just said as a fellow Ranger fan?
First of all, victory drink. But yes, absolutely. The Rangers are a team that have never in the modern era have had the number 1 pick. They desperately needed another wing prospect, in my opinion. To get a player like Lafreniere, I mean, the creativity he brings, the skill set he brings is something that this team is going to need. So I think it's a very, very, very good day to be a Rangers fan.
Chuck, are we jealous or are we good in the playoffs? Because you speak on our behalf.
I mean, I'm not jealous because, we're out here trying to play for a cup and the Islanders are built to win now. But do I think it's rigged? I mean, it is a little suspect that the NHL's 2 biggest markets got the first and second pick in the draft. So it is a little suspicious. The guy dropped the ball too early. When he pressed the button to stop the machine, he was looking right at it. It's a little suspicious.
Are you saying this smells like a 1985 Patrick Ewing kind of gate? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think might have had a hand in it, Carl.
I have something to say about all this, first of all. He dropped the ping pong ball. He took it back out. He did the same thing he did to everybody else. And if you're telling me he was watching the Rangers ball in the machine,
you never know.
Like he's on the Jumbotron at a Mets game trying to follow the ball with the hat, and he got it and hit it just in time. I don't know. I've never been one to think that the lotteries are rigged. This year more than ever, they did it on live TV. I feel like if they're going to rig it, do it behind closed doors. Don't leave anybody.
Listen, I'll be the first one just to admit in other sports and in NBA is the only thing I could really compare it to. There have been theories for years that, that they rigged the lottery, like they folded the envelope for Ewing and they froze it. The year after LeBron left Cleveland the first time and Cleveland won 3 of the 4 picks afterwards. There's always been theories of lotteries being rigged. It's not new in conspiracy theories in sports. So could we be surprised that it was? I don't know. I mean, you guys know more about hockey than I would, but in terms of the NBA, if I could compare it, there have been a lot of theories that lotteries are rigged.
Derrick Rose
and also, and also, Carl, I'm not too worried because I already knew that the Rangers were an up-and-coming team. They have the best pipeline in the NHL, so they should be good. But remember, all these kids drafted are all lottery tickets. We don't know if they're all going to pan out. So, I mean, now the Rangers have a better chance because now they're adding another big piece to their collective. But at the end of the day, you don't know who's going to pan out. Like the Rangers took Elias Anderson 5th overall in 2017, and he looks like a does Filipino look good? Capo Caco didn't really look too good in his first year. Granted, he's only 18, 19 years old. So you really don't know what to expect. But Ranger fans should be thrilled. They did the right thing. They got rid of a core that never got to what they wanted to be, and they started all over. So kudos to them. Kudos to you guys. You should be running through the streets right now. But you know what? My team's in there playing for a cup, so I'm thrilled with it.
Listen, he just threw a backhanded compliment. He's like, listen, you guys did great, but we're
But also, Clara, one last thing. Good hockey teams are built down the middle and on the back end, and that's where the Rangers lack. Their centers
we lack center. We got a couple defensive prospects in the pipeline that are going to turn out really good.
Couple.
Right.
Yeah, they have too many.
Yeah, but you never know what can happen. But good teams are built down the middle. Do the Rangers really have good center prospects besides Hedl, really?
I mean, Heedle's he's better on the wing to begin with, but no, that is a major weakness.
So, I mean, listen, it's great that you're going to have all these wingers to score goals, but you got to defend.
All right, gentlemen. Tim, you have one last comment? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, we have Brett Howden's the center too as well. He's the third line center. But there's also the floating idea that the Rangers could trade the pick for Jack Eichel from Buffalo, which, I mean, he's a 90-point-a-game center as is. So we'll have to...
Yeah, no, exactly.
I'm not trading that pick away unless I get absolutely.
Well, I don't want to trade it either, but I wouldn't complain about Eichel as well.
But the point I'm saying is that if the Rangers can fill in their center needs, then they'll be a dominant team. Even far more than what their ceiling is right now.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining me here on this segment to predict the first round. I'm sure I'll see you guys around for the second round. We'll do another one. I'm sure Mike will send me a text message and let me know when we're supposed to do that one, right? But please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to all of the Sports Hit List content. Make sure you check us out on Wednesdays live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network at 4 o'clock. Tons of content coming your way. Please make sure you're staying safe out there. Take care.